this is Alley Cat, meow, and you're listening to Wrestling Cheers.
Making your way in the world today takes everything you got. Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to get away? Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You want to go where you can see that troubles are all the same. You want to go where everybody knows your name. You want to go where you can see that troubles are all the same. You want to go where everybody knows your name.
And welcome back to Wrestling Cheers, where everybody knows your name, especially when you have to catch Matthew Justice. This is Wrestling Cheers, where we like to talk about things going on the Northeast Out independent wrestling scene. We preview shows, we review shows, and sometimes we even have interviews along the way. This is a review episode for Day 2 of the JT Lightning Invitational Tournament. I am your host. I am Heavy Set, and Wrestling Cheers is brought to you by the Trending Topic Network, Midwest Territory, and Keon Sports. Actually, my name's Justin Summers. I went too much of an autopilot mode of saying my Twitter handle. Anyway, please rate and review and subscribe wherever you listen to this fine podcast, whether it be Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or Podbean, WrestlingCheers.podbean.com. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, Facebook.com/WrestlingCheers, Twitter.com/WrestlingCheers, and Instagram.com/WrestlingCheers. Email, if you so choose, to ZireWrestlingCheers@gmail.com, and we have the merch store over at WhataManeuver.net. Like I said, this is a review episode for Day 2 of AIW's the JT Lightning Invitational Tournament. And on this week, we have Kayden.
Hello.
How's it going?
Good. I'm here regularly.
Yeah.
No updates at all, so yeah, I'm here.
And we also have Stacy.
Hey man, how's it going?
How's it been going with you, man?
Man, it's been good. No complaints.
Hopefully you have more super fantastic episodes coming up.
I do. They got a little delayed because of Transformers deep dive. It ran up against Toy-Hio a little too close.
Yeah.
I record it this week.
Do you think before the next one you'll do the real Ghostbusters deep dive to kind of go with that cover? Asking for
I don't know, man. You broke up a lot. I couldn't tell what you said.
Asking for a friend if you're doing a deep dive for the real Ghostbusters before the next one.
It's always a possibility. I usually give Rick 3 options.
Mm-hmm.
Pick one. I think for the next one, I'm actually just going to put up a poll.
Ooh, that's a good one.
However many is the most responses. Ghostbusters has been an option this time, if not the last 2. So
yeah, I think it's going to get up against ones that are just like way, like in my opinion, bigger deep dives. Like Transformers, like that was a huge thing of the 80s. So it's with Turtles and He-Man, and I feel like Ghostbusters is a second tier popularity to where like you guys are knocking out a lot of the really big ones first.
Yeah, and I do kind of think that's what's happened, but Real Ghostbusters is one of my favorite toy lines from my childhood, so it's gonna happen. I would assume there'll be this, and then before the next Toy-Hio, there'll be 2 more.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't imagine be one of the next 2, because really out of the big ones, the only one we have left is G.I. Joe. Don't want to do G.I. Joe. Read the most.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just there's so much shit, man. G.I. Joe is a ridiculous amount of stuff.
Yeah, I figured as much with that. And then even though you guys were going to stay more with the 80s line, because obviously if you did everything G.I. Joe, geez, that's like
it'd be 4 fucking episodes. I'm not, ain't happening.
Yeah. All right, let's get into Day 2 of the JT Lightning Invitational Tournament. And we're kind of right now, skipping over the Chandler Bings and World Tag Team Tournament. We're not going in order, kind of just doing back-to-back the JLIT, so like get all that storyline, everything out the door. But this was, I liked having the JLIT there. Obviously everything from night 1, and it just, the weather, and I think we did suffer a little bit from like attendance night 1 a little bit. I think we were talking with people, and it seemed like night 2 like with having like both the tag tournament and this like really kind of saved things. It felt like there was a lot more people there for night 2.
But as we said at the same time, night 1 always seems to be less than night 2, because that's just kind of how it is with tournaments, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I mean,
go ahead.
Matches, I think, intimidate some people.
Yeah.
That sounds like a whole lot of night. I've never, like, this year, night 1 felt like it went fast. Like, it didn't feel like a incredibly long show but I mean, I thought attendance was good.
See,
it wasn't at all bad, but like by AIW standards, it was kind of rough.
I think one thing that's benefiting us is the fact that they have the iPay-per-view going on. And maybe they were trying not to make it like things just kind of stretch out. Like they've been trying to cut time like all year with runtime for shows and matches. So it kind of makes sense that they were able to have the show that at least day 1 or night 1 go by as quick as it did.
I have no complaints about that whatsoever.
I mean, even like the JLIT as a whole, like it wasn't until about 3 years ago or so where they switched up the bracket, because it used to be just one-on-one matches till you got to the finals, and then they're like, well, we can knock out a whole lot of show if we just take these semifinal matches and make them, or not even semifinals at that time, it's just second round, like have the winners of that in a 4-way advance on.
We could cut an hour and a half off the show.
Yeah, because I think that's what used to kill night 2 the most, because there was like first half was mostly the second round matches, and then you had like third and fourth round matches for the second half of the show.
And it was still a good show, but just long.
Mm-hmm.
I personally like this format way better than the idea of it being singles matches all the way through. Opportunity to see some people against each other that maybe haven't been before. Like
in
it
the
just
same
makes
ring together.
Those 4 corners matches that come out of the first round, the 3 of those give you these weird mashups of people.
Yeah.
It's cool. You don't get to see like a whole match, but it gives you a taste of what could be. And I think that's really cool.
And it's always kind of split to like the hard hitters, the flippy guys, and like the what is this match?
Yeah.
That's at least how we've put it the last few years of this being a thing.
I think that's fair.
Yeah. It felt like, though, like, kind of like looking at this, like the first match that we end up getting, that was more of your hard hitters. Your second one was kind of like a, what the hell is this? And then the third one is a little mix of the both.
It still was going with that theme, but it was just a little bit more of a mix of everything in each match.
And because of the new format, or the new format, not like it's new this year, we had 4 matches that were tournament matches, and the rest of the card, which was 5 matches, so more than half of the card, was non-tournament match. And most of these, actually, well, all of these matches, if I'm correct, weren't announced. I don't know, maybe all but 2 were announced before night 1. Because they did announce, or no, there's so many.
Some of them got announced after night 1 was over.
I think that's what it was. They only announced up to Chandler Bingham's tournament, like of tournament matches and then a few non-tournament matches.
Right, because the day of the first night of JLIT, Tom Lawler PB Smooth match.
Yeah. And there was a lot of these matches that couldn't have been announced, like Eddie Kingston and Tim Donst. You know, they
spoiler.
Yeah,
right.
They can't be announced. A couple other matches like couldn't be announced, and then we had like the 6-way.
The tag title match couldn't be.
Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Well, yeah, because who would the champion have been? You don't know.
Yeah, and we didn't know if To Infinity and Beyond was going to walk out, not even just walk out champions, whether they're going to be the trophy holders.
True, and I guess they could have been cashed in on prior to this show, hypothetically.
Which, I mean, that's the next week's episode, but that's something that I thought was going to happen. I thought if a particular team won, and maybe if, I think something was talked about in the preview, but if To Infinity and Beyond were in the ring, they'd have to cash in.
Yeah, you thought wrong, though.
I did think wrong. And one thing was not talked about last week, and maybe we can we can dive in a little bit more later in the show, but we did have the early predictions for the show, and both picks were in the finals. So we'll get to that later on.
Yeah, my bracket got destroyed real early.
Your pick did.
Mine was sort of right.
Your early in the year prediction was right, though.
Yeah.
So
Credit everything.
So let's talk about the first match of the card. And I will openly admit, for some reason, tweeting was not my strong suit for the JLIT shows of all things. I fucked up. I know day one and night two, I was still using the hashtag CBMTTT because I just did a whole show using that hashtag. So I fucked shit up. And Kayden, you did not correct me on it.
Nope. No one responsible.
Anyway, we started off the night with Dominic Garrini, Zach Thomas, Joshua Bishop, and the King, Nick fucking Gage. This was the hard-hitting match that we were talking about earlier.
Boy, was it.
And
yeah, this one was rough.
I felt like there were... Like, all four of them could have won, but I was in between, before this match, Bishop or Gage.
Well, all four of them couldn't have won, but any of the four could have won.
Yeah. Thank you, Captain Grammar.
Hey, I'm just saying, all four of them can't win. That's not how the match works.
Anyway.
Maybe if potatoes wrap.
Yeah, probably. So, what'd you guys think of this match? Of what we got of it?
We got doors.
Yeah, we got doors. We got fucking doors.
It was everything I would have wanted this match to be.
Mm-hmm.
I had a smile on my face for this entire match. It was fantastic. I loved everything about it.
This could main event. I'd say, I can't even just say an AIW. This could main event any show currently with everyone that's in this match.
Yeah.
It was good, and it opened the show.
Man, so many dudes in this match position at this point where they are just proving time again that they can hang with fucking anybody. Doesn't matter who it is. Doesn't matter if you're the biggest name on the indies. They can hang with you. Fucking Jesus Christ, Josh Bishop.
Yeah, there was a door set up right in front of me, so I kind of moved so I didn't die. Because I was not prepared for that.
I think the cool thing, too, I didn't notice till now that's, 3 AIW students and Nick Gage.
And Nick Gage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3 AIW students were in the ring with someone who's been wrestling for 20 years.
And it didn't feel like a total squash. Like, no. Nick Gage is going to kick ass, and that's all it's going to be. No, there was a reasoning behind all 4 of them where they could have won.
Yeah, and you get a little bit of revisit of Dom and Josh, which is fucking great.
Mm-hmm.
Sign me up for that.
You have the story going on, not necessarily a story, but everything's been going on with Zach Thomas of just getting some of the matches he has, and even, going into this against Eddie fucking Kingston.
Yeah.
Which was probably the upset of the first round.
Some might say Zach Thomas is a war machine. I don't know.
Yes.
Some might say that. Don't know who.
Justin Summers is the some. He's the some that might say that.
As a reference to his current or maybe soon to be past music.
Better not change it. Ruins the joke.
Oh no, I hope it gets changed. I'm getting tired of the Taz shit.
2 days in a row got to be in the ring with a tough motherfucker who is very well known. Eddie
and
Kingston,
that's gonna help
Nick
him
Gage.
a lot.
Yeah. And this thing was available on Fight. So the exposure these guys got,
get his name out there.
Yeah, all these guys showed up, and if the rest of the night hadn't been as crazy as it was, this would have been my match of the night.
But this was quite the way to start the show.
Fuck yeah.
Just start off with the hardcore, just dudes beating each other half to death.
And it was Nick Gage who advanced via chokebreaker.
Even with, I think, his still bad knee. I'm not sure.
Man, people love Nick Gage.
Fuck yeah.
There are people that dislike him, but...
Man, not as many as like him.
It's 90-10.
Yeah. And I think some of those 10 are afraid to say anything.
They're just quiet.
When he first came back... not the first he came back. When he came back recently, when he was fully out of prison, I felt like there was a lot of people who were actually very vocal. It was just they didn't like that he was this gangster type thing or thug. It just you're not a part of no group and all that shit. You're not a part of a gang. Fuck off. And I know I've heard people scream that.
It's wrestling, motherfuckers.
I know.
Come on.
Have fun with it.
I know.
Come on.
I mean, I love him. He's great.
Yeah, and it wasn't a fucking accountant either. Come on.
Yeah. So was the $1 Million Man not a $1 Million Man?
I don't know. He's a evangelist now, so $1 Man.
You telling me the $1 Million championship wasn't worth that much?
My God.
Man, I think I've got some bad news for you.
Shit. It was going to be the next belt I was going to buy. But I was going to have to spend $1 million, so I guess I'm out.
Yeah, well, good news. Price of $3.99. I think that's your belt.
Next up, we had Pat Buck, Lee Moriarty, Savio Vega, and a long entrance of Mance Warner, which was fun every time.
Old shoulder rub Savio in there.
Shoulder rub and not taking off his vest.
Hey, man. I do like Savio.
Savio loves them shoulder rubs. It's the best. So this was a weird match, I thought, honestly.
This was the strange match out of the tournament matches. Well, the second round tournament matches, I should specify.
Both nights, I really liked Pat Buck. Like, he
won me over.
He came out with just different entrance gear and had just over the top fucking love. That's the only way I can describe it.
It was weird. That makes him stand out immediately.
He's put the extra effort in that not a lot of people do.
Bingo. That's
like the first night I thought I got what his entrance gear was, and I'm pretty good at like pop culture references. The first night I thought he was like Ash from Evil Dead.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that's what it was either. And then like night 2 he came out with that basket on his head and shit. I have no idea what that was.
No, I'm not sure either.
It was.
But
it definitely made him stand out. I don't think it was like a beekeeper suit though.
It's a very bad one.
No, yeah, it would not keep bees out. That would be a horrible beekeeper suit.
Shouldn't bag on him. I actually like Pat Buck. Pretty good.
I'm not ragging on Pat Buck at all. I just didn't get the...
His entrance gear is very, very strange.
I feel like there was like a thing there, like it was a reference to something, and I just don't know what the fuck that
A lot of people aren't
is.
going to get it.
Yeah.
I think even if you don't get the reference, it's still impressive. Because, like I said before, it's not this like regular just get up. He didn't just come out in his gear. There was something that just felt... The only way I want to describe it is like when people come out for WrestleMania, maybe they do something a little bit over the top.
Yeah,
but this is on the independent level, and he did it for 2 nights in a row. So my line of thought goes, okay, you have these 2 outfits, these things going on. Are there more? Do you just have a whole closet full of like other
You just have
things?
an endless supply of things like this?
Because he's been around a long time. Like, I believe it.
I mean, you know he drove in because there's no way he flew with that fucking cage.
He has some weird looks trying to fly with that.
Ain't gonna work. But no, Pat Buck was good, man. I was pleasantly surprised with Pat Buck.
A lot of people questioned why he was in the tournament at first.
Never seen him do anything prior to that weekend. Pat Buck's good.
I would not mind having him back on a somewhat regular basis.
Yeah, he can come around.
Not every show. Just here and there.
Not every show.
I think if he was 3 times a year, I'd be fine with that.
Sure. 3 times is fine.
Maybe a little bit more, but yeah.
And for the second round for this match, Mance Warner advance via lariat.
Oh, man, and we get real Mance entrance now, which is great.
Yeah.
We get the actual entrance.
We got it 3 times this weekend.
And it was good.
Which kind of made up for all the other times we didn't get it.
Getting it 3 times in 2 days was special.
And I don't think any of them were cut short. It was full length.
Yep.
And then the last semi-final round match was KTB versus Marco Stunt versus Matthew Justice versus Kid Cash. This was the mix match. Because
this is your other weird...
A little flippy, a little brutal, a little what the fuck.
Man, I really like this match. This is one of those situations I was talking about where you get some people in the ring together that might not otherwise be in the ring together.
Yeah, it's something you're not gonna see elsewhere.
Yeah, so we get the revisit just a little bit of KTB and Marco, which is kind of the match that made both of them.
Yeah.
You get Kid Cash in a ring with Matt Justice.
Which that was huge for Justice.
Yeah, ECW guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then you also get Marco Stunt in there with Matt Justice and Kid Cash, who I don't know that anybody would have ever, if you were sitting down and going, hey, man, what matches do you think you are ever going to see? I don't know that anybody would have been like, man, I think someday I'll probably see Marco Stunt versus Kid Cash.
No, that's probably has never come up. Well, maybe
it was
once.
never on anybody's list, but it's a thing we saw that's fucking cool. And man, Kid Cash for pushing 50 can still fucking go, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not bad. I'm going to put it this way. He's more of a multi-man match type guy.
Yeah, I don't know that I need to see a singles Kid Cash match again, but he did fine in this. And the dude's still in shape and shit.
Yeah.
Shape.
And then you also have the revisit of Justice and KTB.
Right. Yeah.
From December, I believe.
Yeah. This match was really fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
I like the mix of styles that was in it. It was just, the pacing was good. Didn't go too long. Like, it just felt, everything about this match just felt me. Like, everything clicked.
It was fun.
Yeah. Marco was a little bit more comedic, came out with his regular music.
Proper entrance, dude.
Yeah, proper. Little bit, like I said, this was like a little bit for everyone. Even people that I know who are kind of against Marco said, like, well, I still don't love him, but maybe I get it a little bit more. And I was like, all right, good. Like, that's fine.
So small. This is the smallest little man.
I know. He's a smoker. And it stunts his growth.
Yeah, I don't.
I have nothing else to chime in on that joke. Just.
I think it's not necessarily a joke.
It's not just the way just the phrasing in that one made it seem like it.
Match was good.
Mm-hmm.
And the outcome of this match was good. Went on to the finals is Matt Justice.
10 that finals.
And Justice advanced via Super MK Ultra.
I was instructed that's what it is called a couple months ago.
And I'll come out and say I think the finals match that we're going to get to later, best finals ever in JLIT.
Yes.
And it's nothing against anybody who's ever in the match, but I felt like this was the one time that I honestly believed any three of them could win. Because normally, or there's been other years where you have two that it's like, yeah, these guys are the competitors, and then you have the third wild card, where it's like, I didn't expect them to get there, but maybe, and normally that maybe never won.
I didn't know who was getting eliminated first. I'll say that.
Mm-hmm.
Really wanted to see Bishop go on to that match. In my head, it just getting him and Matt in the ring again in that room, and then adding Manser into that mix just sounded like the fucking craziest thing in the world.
Would have been actual death.
But man, it was Gage being there was the right call.
Mm-hmm.
When we get to that match, man, like I said, that first match would have been my match of the night, except that ended up being the fucking finals of JLIT, and holy fuck.
Yeah, I think the finals were my match of the night and the weekend, which is probably what it should be, because this is, the last match of the entire weekend, and it capped it off nicely. There was a lot of stuff coming out of it that, like, we'll get to later, but it was so good. And to have Warner, Gage, Justice at the Odeon, like, I could never ask for a better finals match, and that's why I go on record, best finals ever in JLIT.
The not safe JLIT finals.
Yeah. Was it this the match that we started chanting "We're in danger"? Well,
is that just every Matthew Justice match?
All three of them, it felt like it was like, oh shit, like this is going to be nuts.
In the 4-way matches where he threw KTB onto me and Russell, and I took a boot to the side of the head. That's why I didn't chime in much about that match, because I don't remember much of it.
Oh no! Did you get a fun cushion, Kayden?
Wrestling, it's fun. And you get brain damage and don't remember much of it. I sit front row. I know what to expect.
Right.
Would it be a fun cushion if you're sitting front row, you bend forward a little bit, and then the barricade hits your head?
Man, if you're having fun and you get a concussion, it's a fun cushion.
That's another Turner's Hall story.
I don't feel like it's fun. I feel like it hurts. Fucks up your night. Anyway.
I don't know, man. Your idea of fun and mine might be different.
Light tubes?
I don't know.
Light tubes, okay.
I don't know if that's my idea. I mean, I'd like to watch it. I don't know that I'd get hit with one. That's okay.
Next up in our first non-tournament match, we had Tim Donst versus Eddie fucking Kingston. And
Ooh, buddy.
I want to throw out this tweet that I retweeted of someone who was following the tweets of the match and the before match photo, and it was at DW Miller 2016. He says, "This kind of looks like your Eddie versus basketball shorts, Eddie."
That's funny.
And this is a fucking old independent wrestling rivalry, an old AIW rivalry, and it was pretty fucking great.
I was about to say, this goes back to Don's first year year or two, I think, in wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Does this go back to Chikara?
Yes.
Yeah. My two favorite Donst rivalries has been Gage and Kingston.
And the Kingston one just never seems to end.
No, they just come in and out of it.
It's always there. I don't feel like the Gage one is over either. It's also still just kind of there.
Yeah, I'd love to see that one come back. But I think we also seen it a lot in a short amount of time.
Yeah.
And even before that, just when he came back, there was his last match in AIW, which was Donst, and it was that crazy feud that it didn't have an endpoint because he went back to prison.
Yeah. He never got the proper ending, so they kind of just had to do everything boom, boom.
Yeah.
Once he came back.
Which was great.
No complaints about it.
And there was no way it wasn't going to be good. You knew before either of these dudes walked to the ring, before the fucking bell sounded, this was going to be a good match, and it fucking was.
Mm-hmm.
Every time these two have a match with each other, it's fun. If it's a serious match or a somewhat comedy brawl, kind of like they had, I believe it was last year, or the year before, I don't remember what it was. I want to say it was 2 years ago. But they always have some sort of just fun match.
Yeah.
This just adds to the list.
How do you guys interpret the Donst support? Is it still 50-50, or is it...
I don't think it was ever 50-50.
I don't know. I felt like it was, at least against, right around the time of Gage, it was 50-50.
Yes.
Or right in before he came back, because there was the whole thing, Donst was at one point, everybody loved Donst, pretty much except me. And then he, had the cancer thing, that took a whole different route. But then when he came back and ended up turning on J-Pro, I felt like there was a section of the audience that was like, well, I still like Donst. And then there was another section which...
I'm that section.
And then there's another section that within the year leading up to that point, they were like, fuck Donst. And then they became louder right around that time. And it's still this weird split.
Yeah, the love-hate for Donst is still there.
I could tell you that from the Tim fucking Donst side of that, it does not feel 50-50.
What does it feel?
30-70.
It's weird. It just depends on where you're at, I guess.
Which is the 30, which is the 70?
The 30 is Tim fucking Donst. Me and Trevor nonstop screaming Tim fucking Donst, and occasionally a handful of people join in, and always the entire rest of fucking everybody yells sucks.
There was the old Tim Donst section, more from the Mount Carmel era, and they pop up from time to time, but I can't remember the last time I've seen them, but I know they were huge, obviously in support for Donst.
Yeah.
So I think that's why, and I know there's people like, Kenny Wang who fucking loves Donst, and I that's why I feel like it's really 50-50. But then again, I came from the time when I was the only one yelling sucks. And then all of a sudden, it was two other people, and then it grew.
Dude did work as a heel for a while. He's pretty good at wrestling, part of it, so. But
how many, which we don't know, how many of those people were saying cheering him when he was face? Because around that time of that turn, when he turned heel, he was the great good guy. He just came off everything with cancer, and he was well loved. But people started getting tired of him. So that's when the sucks chance started. And that's why I don't know how much of it is, quote, heel.
The dance thing is always gonna be weird, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Ain't weird for me. I cheer the dude every time. Even when he's in there with somebody else that I like.
It's fun to
Other
bust him
person.
for his gear. Let's leave it at that.
Dude, the gear's fucking great. Got duct tape on it and shit. That's fantastic.
He used to have very nice gear.
Very nice gear. He's Tim fucking Donst.
He's
got the gear he's got.
Really, really nice singlet. Now he just has shorts and a t-shirt and duct tape boots.
It's great.
It does go back to the tweet of Gear Eddie versus Basketball Shorts Eddie.
Donst is duct tape.
I'll give him credit. I don't think he's had any terribly bad feuds in AIW. I mean, he's had stretches where he doesn't have feuds. He's just in matches,
he's just there.
Which is not a knock. Which is also great too, because the guy who's been around as much as Donst has, you don't want him to just be in like constant storylines and just always.
Yeah, you don't need to be in a feud 24/7. You can just be in matches.
Right. So that's a key to not wearing people out on a guy, is to have him around, but not always make him like the center of attention for a thing.
Mm-hmm.
I disagree too. And it's fun to make the jokes of like, oh, Gear Eddie, Basketball Shorts Eddie. I have never once seen Eddie Kingston half-ass match. And I've seen him wrestle in basketball shorts a bunch. I've seen him wrestling gear a bunch. And it's easy to make the joke because I think maybe there was a match at one point where he wore the basketball shorts and he may have not went like 100%. But that dude, when Eddie Kingston shows up, he shows up. Same with Tim Donst. And the match was good.
Yeah, they're both awesome.
And it was
the gear thing's always going to be a fun little joke with the AIW crowd.
Right.
Though he told me we need to get new material.
Material.
It was Eddie Kingston winning via the spinning back fist.
That probably also has a name.
Next up, we had an open challenge from To Infinity and Beyond for the AIW Tag Team Championships, and they said they didn't want it to be anybody who has previously challenged for the titles. So it wasn't going to be the production. It wasn't going to be PME. It wasn't going to be freaking Young Studs. Had to be somebody they have never went up against. And of course, well, you reform a tag team that hasn't been a tag team in, 5, 6, 7 years.
I was about to say, it's been literally since I started going. They haven't been a team.
The last match I remember them in was when they lost the tag titles, and that was none other than Flip Kendrick and Louis Linden, formerly known as Aeroform, which the crowd went mild. Maybe it's because there's a current crop of fans that really don't care for Louis Linden, or just the fact that this has been a tag team a long time ago that most fans didn't know that it was
a lot of people don't know.
Man, I really like Flip Kendrick. He's real good.
Why don't you like Louis Linden?
I didn't say I didn't like Louis Linden, did I?
You didn't, but you excluded him, so okay.
You made Louis Linden sad.
What was for the exclusion of Louis Linden?
I think you're reading too much into things, brother.
I'm not.
They like Flip Kendrick. I think he's very good at wrestling.
What do you think about Louis Linden?
Almost die once, and that was scary.
He broke his face.
See a man break his face, you get a newfound respect for him. I never saw Louis Linden break his face. It's really good for Louis Linden.
Double moonsaults.
How do you feel about Louis Linden?
I feel like he's a professional wrestler. He wrestles on shows where he's booked.
Is that a feel like, or that's a no? Because I don't think you feel that he's a professional wrestler. You obviously know he's a professional wrestler. You've obviously seen him on professional wrestling shows.
You saw him wrestle Ultimo Dragon last year.
I did see him wrestle Ultimo Dragon.
How do you feel about that?
Now we're getting to the bottom of it.
Dragon, I love Ultimo Dragon. Man, growing up watching Ultimo Dragon, he was the best. I even, I was happy with Dragon. I thought he was great.
What would you rate Louis Linden?
At what?
Overall grade as a wrestler.
As a wrestler. Man, I don't really put grades on things. What are we grading him at? A, B, C, D, E?
Yeah, letter grade.
Oh, man, Louis Linden's probably a solid C.
Okay.
That seems
average.
I would say C. You know who's really good is there's this wrestler, I think his name's Felino Blanco, wrestles at Old. That dude's good. It's like a C. Wrestler, like a C.
He's no Skip Kendrick.
The thing, if you want fun, Have you ever painted a wall and then like the shit dries, right? You can watch that happen.
Oh, goodness.
Kayden.
Yes.
Remember when Aeroform was a fun-loving tag team and everybody loved both members?
I do. It was a good time.
What happened?
Oh man, they still look like they loved fun. I mean, if you're asking me if I like booed Louis Linden, well, of course not. He was in a ring with Cheech.
People did not like Cheech this day.
Oh, I forgot about in between this and the Chandler Biggins World Tag Team Tournament. The eat shit Cheech chant started.
Yeah,
And there was a "We Want Cloudy" chant.
And you were saying it, and you used to be like one of the biggest anti-Cloudy people I've ever known. Him and Brett Banks.
Come back so I could yell at him some more.
man, people really wanted Cheech to eat some shit, like
Wanted Colin to eat cereal.
fuckers. I don't know that there were very many people not telling him to eat shit. It was a lot. It was loud.
It was very loud. Poor Cheech.
And strangely, those same people did cheer Cheech at one point during this match, but
We're going to look over that and not talk about it.
Yeah, let's not talk about that part.
We've had enough issues with fans and even one with a wrestler, but we're not going to get back into all that. We'll just say, don't be that dude. Do not be that dude.
oh, I just thought all those people, I just thought they all got confused for a minute. Oh no, eat shit. Sorry, forgot. Eat shit.
All right, we don't like you, boo.
So yeah, Aeroform. Like we called this. We knew.
Even before they announced the stipulation. The stipulation kind of confirmed it before we heard the music.
Yeah, I mean, we called this before night one was over, right? Like somebody on the preview show said that this would probably happen night two. Or maybe that was in casual conversation, but I know I heard somebody say it before it happened.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying it was bad. I'm just,
Like I said, the crowd went mild. And it's either between the few that don't like Louis Linden, and I do think probably the bigger thing is like, what tag team? Huh? I don't get it. Why are these two dudes tag team? When did this happen? Forever ago. That's why.
And look, man, I think it's really obvious that like Cheech are pretty good at being heels, right? I think we can all agree on that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no argument there.
The other thing is, I don't think everybody really hates Colin and Cheech. Like, here's the thing. If you rewind the clock to when fucking PB and Swoggle were champs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Still, like, To Infinity and Beyond still worked matches, and they didn't get, like, crazy booed. Sick of seeing them as champs.
Yes, and I've said this before.
Yeah, they just don't. It's that thing where, like a WWE analogy into it, but, like, Cena always had a belt. Everybody hated Cena. Like, just nuclear fucking hated Cena. As soon as he stepped away and was just, like, having fun, people quit hating him. The same thing with Colin and Cheech. As soon as they're not involved in, like, the tag title scene, they'll go to being, like, face.
But when they weren't champions, it's not like they were face. They were still kind of the same.
Yeah, but there wasn't that vitriol. There wasn't, like, people weren't like, oh, fuck these guys. People weren't telling Cheech to eat shit.
Yeah, they were still disliked, but not on such a high level.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like there are some fence riders on To Infinity and Beyond where there are some people who like them. They just don't fucking want them to be champs anymore.
They're a good team. I just don't want them to be champs. I've said that one before. I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot here.
Do we have, like, a count? I should say, we obviously don't. But I wonder if there's anybody out there that has a count of how many days they've been champion total in AIW. Because
I mean, I would imagine Wadsworth has that.
Let me see if I can figure this one out.
Because they've been champions for enough absolutions where they were either, I think all of them they were going in as champion, actually. Maybe there was one that they didn't because the Hot Sauce Entertainment versus To Infinity Beyond, that feud lasted a year. I mean, I think it was back-to-back absolutions we had that match. And
you want combined days as tag champs?
Yes.
Like entirely? Okay.
Because that would be the big question. Because for me, I think it's hard to actually hate Colin. I love Colin. Like, I get the whole heel stuff and everything, but, like, I think on a personal level, like, to hate that dude, I think it's nuts.
He's pretty good at commentary. I don't know if you've ever heard that dude do commentary, but he's pretty good at it.
Yeah. Heard him WrestleMania weekend for the Slumber Party Massacre.
Okay.
But, like, I think just, like, personally, like, if you ever get a chance to speak with him, like, he's an awesome dude. Like, and that's not, I'm not combining that with, like, he's supposed to be hated. He's supposed to be a heel. He's supposed to be booed. That's fine.
I was going to say, man, because that can be said for, like, you could say this about every wrestling promotion, but I think in AIW, it's tilted a bit more. But a lot of these guys are really good dudes if you talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
And Colin and Cheech are no different in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Colin's fine.
Maybe people would like Cheech if he brought that shirt for Pat. That'd be a great
New Papa Pat needs his fucking RVD shirt. God damn it!
I was about to say that would be a great thing for like to get as a new father.
Yeah, amazing gift to give a new father. One day passed down to that son.
And it'll be all thanks to Cheech. I mean, come on, Cheech, dropping the ball.
Nah, I don't think Cheech listens to your show, Summers, but maybe he does.
I don't think he does either, but it's whether you get people that hear it and then they say, listen to this. I don't know. I mean,
Cheech. Just anybody who listens to this podcast, tweet Cheech and shame him. Pat, old Ron Two Legs, the RVD shirt, he deserves that shit, and you gave him your word, Cheech. Come on, Cheech. We've seen you do the right thing before that, but we've seen it.
We need a hashtag for this. I just keep wanting to see like hashtag do the right thing, Cheech. You got that total yet, Kayden?
I do.
Okay, that's what I was waiting on.
I just wasn't interrupting.
AT420?
Combined days as tag champs since they first won it in 2015. 754
days.
That's what and that's still counting. Like, it's still going.
That's over 2 years as champions.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
And then we still have a while for Apso. So, yeah.
That's some fucking Hogan San Martino shit. Like, Jesus Christ.
They've lost it in between here and there, obviously, but...
I'm sure, but still, fucking total. 2 years?
Lost to Infinity and Beyond. How many times did they lose to Hot Sauce Entertainment? Was it once?
Yeah, once.
And then they beat Crazy Pain, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then obviously losing it to Twins.
Man, Crazy Pain. I'd like to see half of that tag team back around more often.
Which half would that be?
Oh, Gringo Locos. It's great.
Yeah.
He's fantastic.
I was about to say neither of them are around often.
Gringo busy.
He's in
Good
demand.
for him.
I mean, he's been here this year. I had just gotten real used to him being on like almost every show.
Oh, hell yeah.
It's because he's just got conflicting dates now.
Is it
which seems to be a normal thing.
Yeah, seems to be a couple people that have conflicting dates, and that's why we haven't seen them lately. Or they don't seem as much. Because the same wrestlers would be the ones that you were expecting them almost every single month.
Yeah, there's a couple of people who've been MIA for a minute.
Like the Laredo Kid.
Well, I don't think we'll see him much anymore.
I'm sad.
What's he been doing? I haven't been paying attention.
He joined AEW.
Oh, okay. One of the.
Well, I don't know that he's actually joined AEW, but he's working that Fyter Fest show.
Okay.
As the tag team partner of Penta and Ray Phoenix.
I mean, you didn't have to say his name. Not like he shouldn't show up to any other show.
Could censor that other name.
Going back to the match, it was To Infinity and Beyond retained via powerbomb lung blower combo.
LOL. To Infinity and Beyond wins.
We won't get into the Chandler Biggs Memorial Tag Team Tournament results. That's next week's episode. But we might not have that for a while.
Hope. It seems like the winners of that tournament to do it. And hopefully they do.
I'll find a partner, take the tag belts.
Who would your partner be?
I don't know. Give me a minute. Figure that one out.
All right, and it was at this time we went into intermission. So we'll be right back right after this.
Are you tired of the same old pro wrestling? Then check out the amazing action on Powerslam.tv, the biggest indie pro wrestling channel in the world. Get over 4,000 hours of the best pro wrestling events from over 110 of the biggest names in the industry from over 15 countries around the globe. Get your free trial today at powerslam.tv.
And coming back from intermission, we started off with an unannounced scramble match. Dr. Daniel C. Rockingham versus Mikey Millennial versus CPA versus Eric Taylor versus one called Manders and versus Alley Cat. This match... Go ahead.
Oh, we're going to talk all over each other.
Go ahead.
All I was saying was this was a great match to come back from intermission to.
Mm-hmm.
This match was fucking fun. People showed out in this match. Like, there were people who came back who haven't been, like, IW folks, but have been, like, a more recent addition to the roster. And then the two students who I felt best performance in every match I've seen them in got a chance to wrestle some established folks. Mikey Millennial is the fucking truth, man.
He's very, very good.
Fuck yeah.
And he's got to do more with his gimmick on this particular day with the two shows. That's been really fun to watch.
Fucking cell phone spots are the best.
He's creative with his gimmick. That's what's good.
It's great. And man, that finisher is called the Clout Chaser. Start calling it the Clout Chaser.
Now I know, jeez.
Kayden, it's called the Clout Chaser.
Yeah, I'm the one that tweets the results. Should know this by now.
Sorry, Kayden, I didn't mean to put you on blast, but...
Jeez.
Chaser.
It's funny.
People could tell me what they call their moves. I say this all the time. Let me know.
Yeah, they're
I told you or not. I was the name of the move, and I hadn't seen anybody post as it. So
I think one of my favorite spots in this match, because pretty much anything you do with Alley Cat is great when she works the cat angle. And what was it?
Angle?
Okay, but with the whole, what was it, Eric being allergic?
Poor kid.
I think so. Yeah,
that whole spot was fucking great.
So bad. He was allergic to the cat.
I don't think I've seen anybody in a match be like, "Oh, I'm allergic to cats." It's probably been done, but I haven't seen it.
It's new to you.
If it's been done, it hasn't been done at AIW. So
Bingo.
And Dr. Dan was his usual self.
Yeah, Dan's always good.
Mance.
He did not die against Mance. Man, that match. I know that was the first night, but god damn it, that was just the best.
It was good.
Fucking best. And people were just so many people with dollars out.
Everyone's like, here, just take my money. I don't care if it's a $20 bill, take it.
Kept going and made fucking $20 in fucking ones. Man, so good. Pamphlet to his forehead. It's perfect. He came out all that and was able to, hold his own in this match. Some.
Mm-hmm.
Manders fresh off almost killing a guy.
Almost murdered a man.
Yeah.
Hopefully we see him back in AIW.
Yeah.
Just don't do that again.
Don't kill a guy.
Is there anything else you guys remember from this match?
They did the tie gimmick. CPA and Dan. That was a good spot. Clip-on tie, and then Dan's not being a clip-on tie. That whole thing.
Simple little spot, but it was fun.
Yeah. I mean, this match was... I want to just call it a comedy match, because it wasn't. There was more going on in it than no. But it had lots of comedy spots, and it definitely...
Like the comedy spots stuck out more than anything else.
And that might be because I like comedy wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
But
I think that's because...
Or they could have been creative spots more than anything.
Right.
CPA can do comedy. Dr. Dan can go back and forth between comedy. Obviously, Alley Cat can do comedy. And then you have... I don't think Manner's not really big into that, but at least with the two students, like, you could play off certain things to be comedy. Because I don't want to say that Mikey Millennial's comedy, but he has things that can be fun.
So I think with Mikey, it's not like over the top comedy. It's almost a little more subtle.
It's very millennial. Which...
Jesus Christ, Summers.
But what I'm saying is, like, when people are like, oh, millennials, like, he's just okay. Like, that he's just taking those tropes and doing them. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I gotcha. I thought you were just trying to work his fucking... Come on.
I mean...
But no, yeah, he's... I've never seen someone do that fucking spot phone where he does the fuck with the spin around with it the whole time.
The Hurricanrana.
Oh, fucking good. It's so fucking good. And like he mixes that with a comedy side of things. That's just, it's a good mix. I really like that kid.
I think it's going to be an interesting year for him in AIW.
He's already starting off quite good.
He's had like such a hot start of putting on good matches, fun matches, and he's like one of the guys that everybody's talking about.
Even before he debuted.
Like
you had that small group that already knew about him.
Like, I think it was before day one he came up to me and he said, thank you for all the nice things. And I'm like, that's all you, dude. Like, I'm just telling you that I like it. Or we're saying that we like it. Like, dude, just keep doing you.
Now, I've said it like a broken record, but what got me to like that kid was watching his hustle on Ring Crew.
Mm-hmm.
He was working that hard, that fast, to make sure that the fucking little things like cleaning up the ring are done as quickly as possible to move the show along. Like, oh, you're given that role and you're working 110% of what's expected. That's going to translate into other things you do.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly has. Because he's obviously put work in.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what made me a fan, was just watching his hustle, doing little shit like Ring Crew and stuff before I ever saw him wrestle a match.
I think he was one of two students of this particular class that I kind of knew who he was before he debuted. It was him and Arthur MacArthur. Like, that's it. And I think everything that you said, it's like, it speaks like the truth with him a lot more. And it was Alley Cat winning via snap headbutt.
The women's ace of AIW.
Yep. I wonder if we'll get a women's match at APSO.
I hope. I don't know who the fuck would be in it, but Alley Cat versus somebody.
They had no idea who, but...
Isn't, which I don't 100% know, the Savage Gentleman and Lady Frost, are they in ROH or are they the dojo?
No clue.
Kayden?
I think they're in the dojo.
Okay, so it means they could...
I'm not helpful here.
Which means they can wrestle anywhere. They're not exclusivity.
Lockdown to ROH.
Yeah. Fun little story about them that I want to tell. I think it was Saturday night. I get a DM on Instagram from a friend of mine, and it was someone else's Instagram story. And it was Mick Foley at a wedding reception. And I was like, all right, that's cool. And like the whole, like, the wedding party had, or the groomsmen had wrestling shirts under their stuff. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. The bride ended up doing the mandible claw on the groom. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Then I go to the last snap. It's Lady Frost and Savage Benjamin's wedding. And I'm like, that's fucking awesome. And I'm like, the dude's sending me a video of like, oh, here's Mick Foley. And I go, oh, I know the wrestler's getting married. I'm like, Foley's cool too.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I know it's Mick Foley, but I know the wrestlers.
Yeah, I saw some stories had stuff from that on it.
What made me think of them right now is just the whole, like if we're trying to like get in women, or at least trying to get one women's match every few shows, I figure she's probably towards the top of the list of people that they can get easily now.
Zoom. I would almost like to see, like, if we're just gonna have a women's match, bring in somebody crazy for Alley Cat to wrestle every time. Haven't been around AIW, or haven't been there for a long time and are available again.
Who would you like to see, Kayden?
A lot of people I'd like to see are overseas talent, so it wouldn't happen. Trust me, I already know this. I've tried.
That Japan plane ticket is a motherfucker.
I wouldn't even say Japan.
Right.
So
But I know how these things work.
Yeah, you got a lot of women's wrestlers you're fans of. I figured there'd be somebody within the States that you'd like to see in AIW.
You can bring Maria Manic in, but not even as to have a women's match, just in roster.
She was at the last GNO, right? Or was it the one before that?
That was...
I think that was
Hold on. The flyers over here. Which one was she on?
Might not have been the last one. I remember...
GNO 17.
Wasn't that the last one?
No.
Last one was 21.
There was two after that.
Or they go out.
But that was like a completely different Maria Manic, too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was like when she first debuted.
Yeah, like that was my introduction to Maria Manic.
It's a big difference now.
Oh, God, yes. You don't even think it's the same person. Just because she went a little more gimmick then, and then now it seems to be this is kind of more of a real personality. I'd like to see her back. She'd be a good one. I'd go nuts for Veda Scott, but I'm not holding my breath on that one.
Never in the States.
Just not at the right time.
Yeah, I mean, if you're
at AIW, but it just didn't work out.
If you're based out of Europe too, I mean, that's the only reason that we got Session Moth was because she was going to be in the States because it was Mania, that running up against Mania.
It was because Rise was the next day, and that's in Chicago, so it was perfect timing.
Right, and that was the week before Mania.
It was literally just perfect timing with how stuff worked out. Was just Rise Shimmer being that weekend, plus Mania being the next weekend.
Yep. So she flew in a week early for that stuff, and we got her a day early.
Plus, got to cross off someone off the bookings list. Signings, bookings.
All right, let's move on to the next match. And I think it seemed like we were going to go into a different match at this point, but we had 40 Acres, PB Smooth, Trey Lamar, and AJ Gray come out demanding a match.
AJ Gray took PB Smooth's old gimmick of I don't sleep ever.
Yeah, that's pretty much it with him.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
PB Smooth probably still doesn't sleep.
I was about to say, is that his old gimmick? It's just he's borrowing the gimmick.
Trey probably doesn't sleep either. None of them sleep.
I don't know. I do think I'm occasionally up at like 5 a.m. and I'm pretty sure I still see like stories start at like 5. So
PB's just going to the gym.
He is
living that no sleep life.
He told me before he sleeps in like these like small intervals, which is nuts.
I have a friend who does that and sleeps like 2 hours at a time, a few times a day.
Mm-hmm.
But I would feel like life never ended. Like it was just like an endless cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Driving me crazy. But hey, man, if it works for you, you do you.
There's nothing says you need to actually sleep.
Oh, no, you actually need to sleep.
Yeah, get 45 minutes, you'll be fine.
Sure, for a while.
That's older.
If you're a wrestler, it works.
Yeah. That's older folks go, no, I need sleep.
Hey, man, cocaine's crazy. You can do all kinds of shit. But
anyway, it was
story with any of these cats, but
it was Danhausen and Derek Director who answered the challenge, and there was no, because you'd figure it would be a 3-on-3, but granted we're doing this a little out of order. Eddie Only did get injured in the Chandler Biggs Memorial Tag Team Tournament, so
flew out of the balcony.
He was not able to be in this match, or even was it? Yeah, it was a match.
Sorta. I don't know if there was ever a bell.
There was one. I think it was PB and AJ demanded the bell be rung. And we did have Eddie who came out and, attempted to clear house with a chair, but then he ended up getting attacked by his ankle. So I think it was really quick. It was a matter of a few minutes, but, 40 Acres won via chokeslam.
Man, 40 Acres is going to be some shit to contend with.
Mm-hmm.
For quite a while in AIW.
I think post-Absolution tag team division is very interesting.
Yeah, I'm excited about that.
A lot of Freebird rules going on.
Yeah, that's another thing. With the couple trios in AIW, that makes the tag division quite interesting.
I like 40 Acres, man. I think it's exactly what those guys needed.
Instead of just kind of being there.
Yeah.
And just how they're just doing open challenges every month.
I mean, when you talk earlier, we were talking about how the main event show at JLIT, and AJ Gray is a guy who was responsible for one of those years where the weekend all people were talking about was AJ Gray. They weren't talking about who won JLIT.
He had an insane match on the earlier show, and because of that, he got a spot later in the night and just a bonus match.
Right.
Things like that happen JLIT weekend.
Exactly.
It's the weekend where you kind of show up and try to get a spot.
Yeah, 40 Acres is going to be, I think, a lot of people going forward. Anybody in the tag division, and honestly, anybody in the singles division. I mean, that's 3 dudes that are going to cause a whole lot of problems for a whole lot of people. There for it. I dig it.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what they really end up as. Because right now, they're more or less just a trio that calls people out.
And then beats people up.
And yeah, it's simple. But hey.
But I feel like with 40 Acres in the production, it's not over.
No, I don't see that being over yet.
Because
no.
Number one, obviously not a fair fight. And number two, I mean, if you're the production and you lost a match with that circumstances and everything, you're coming back for revenge.
You're going to want a second match.
So we're going to get something, I'm hoping, by Abso.
Oh, I would love to see these two teams go at it at Abso, if for no other reason than to see all the fucking videos that Danhausen and Derek cut leading up to it.
If not Abso, Rager.
I would take that as well.
Have a little party. Bit of a different definition than most people.
All right, next up we had Filthy Tom Lawler versus Eric Stevens for the AIW Absolute Championship.
Oh boy.
Which,
This didn't start for almost 10 minutes, technically.
yeah, technically. Because it was, I believe, was it Stevens that attacked Filthy Tom?
Stevens just murdered Lawler on a dive.
Yeah.
And it just was insanity from there.
This is a match I'm not remembering too much from.
I just remember it being real rough.
What would you expect from those two?
Yeah. Not like rough like it wasn't good, just like rough like it was brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah, what else do you expect from those two?
And that was Tom's second match of the day.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, this is something I would highly recommend you go out of the way to watch.
It's really fucking good.
If you like the early 2000s indie, like, strong style stuff, this is kind of what it was. Just two dudes wailing on each other for, what, like 20, 25 minutes? I'm bad at times.
There haven't been a lot of them at this point because he's a fairly new champion. But I think this was Tom's best match that he's had as champion.
Because it was someone who wrestles kind of the same as he does.
Yeah, it was super complimentary styles. Absolutely.
Eric Stevens just coming back to wrestling. I probably said this again last time. After 9 years. Couldn't tell if you didn't know he was gone for 9 years.
It's a beat.
I don't know how long he's going to be doing this for. Get that man on your shows.
Yeah, I hope we see him back to AIW before the year's over.
I was hoping at least Absolution.
I mean, if it's that soon, fucking great.
I'll take it.
Yeah. But I mean, it could be even like all the way to hell on earth, just as long as, he gets brought back in before the year's over. I'm cool with it. I'll bring him back in every month if you want to.
Great.
He, impressed. Of the dudes who seen, like, him and Kid Cash for me going into this weekend were two guys who I hadn't seen in a while. And I didn't really know what we were going to get out of them. And Kid Cash was fine. But man, Eric Stevens, it was like he never stopped wrestling.
Just picked up right where he left off.
Yep.
And it was Filthy Tom Lawler retained via arm trap TTD.
Yep, I have a technical name for that now.
Okay.
It is the Master Blaster.
That's a good name.
Yeah.
That is straight from Tom Lawler himself. Probably didn't listen, but thank you, Tom Lawler.
That's way better than that shit you said, Summers.
And then that is me tweeting results.
Yeah.
Don't yell at Summers.
I'm not yelling at anybody. You tweeted, Kayden.
It's my fault, because I just go by the actual moves.
Because
don't make Summers sad. Make me sad instead.
No, because if it was me tweeting, it would just be wins via submission.
Yeah, you could tell the difference.
I've openly said I've always been horrible at move names. Never remember.
He's not as detailed.
No.
It's just pin or submission. I tweet the actual moves.
I'll tweet the moves if I know them, and those are rare.
You know when it's power bomb.
That's a classic. Next up, we're at the main event.
Wow, we're all the way there, huh?
Yeah.
We're in danger.
We are at Mance Warner versus Matthew Justice versus Nick Gage in a triple threat elimination match, the finals of the JT Lightning Invitational Tournament.
Holy shit.
Like I was talking about earlier in the year, we did the early predictions, and Dustin and Kayden both had Gage. Me and Stacy had Justice.
And there's a lesson to be learned here.
What's that?
The year me is really good at picking things.
Yeah, you picked both that and Gauntlet.
Or the show me is fucking terrible at it. My instincts and picked Mancer, and I was wrong as wrong could be. Me was smart, was fucking on point. Dumb as fuck.
Well, like I said, the record's going to show that your predictions at the beginning of the year were right without knowing anything. Shot in the dark, bullseyes.
Yeah, I'm a little proud of myself.
Definitely have the right to be.
I was almost right with Gauntlet. I was almost right.
I think Kayden, didn't you have them both right last year, or was it just the one? You had you had JLIT. I know that.
Me or Kayden?
Last year.
I might have had both of them. I don't know if you probably don't have that saved still.
No, I don't have that saved anymore.
Yeah, I can't remember back that far.
I'd probably have to go back to the...
I can tell you something from 2012 AIW, though.
What?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just saying. I can remember 2012 AIW, but I can't remember a podcast from last year. I have weird memory.
I'd have to go back to the JLIT episodes last year. It was somewhere around there we talked about it. Because I remember you picked the winner of JLIT. You picked Janela. Who won? I don't remember who picked Hot Sauce to win Gauntlet.
You mean JLIT?
Mm-mm.
No.
Oh, he won Gauntlet. Yeah.
Yeah. But I know somebody picked him, and I just don't remember fucking who. So we've all said this is the match of the weekend, or at least the match of the night.
Oh, I think it was probably the match of the weekend too.
And
it was just death.
And there was no right or wrong person to win. It was definitely everybody. Like I said, if they would have won, it would have been great.
I think there is something poetic about Matt winning the JT Lightning tournament, though.
How's that?
It's happened a couple of times. Like Ray won, guys who were actually like JT had a hand in them becoming wrestlers as to win. To me, that feels a little more special than, Mance's gauge is amazing, but they don't have like a direct tie to JT Lightning. They get when like, a guy who JT was involved in there.
Or guys that were actually in Cleveland All-Pro.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that there's something special about that.
It's such a small little thing, but it's like, hey, this is cool, because they were actually in the company or around JT.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same idea as like, when a team wins the Biggins that, actually were Chandler Biggins guys, It's that same
why
kind of
when
thing.
Weird World won it was cool.
And man, this just adds to the fucking year that Matt Justice is having. Holy shit.
Killed a man and won the Satan belt. Now he wins this.
Man, got that Satan belt. Looks like they killed that whole... Didn't just kill that man. It looks like he killed that whole promotion.
Killed the entire company.
Yeah, took the Satan belt and went home.
It's his belt now.
Yeah. The dead guy? Nah, I don't think so.
Let's talk about the first elimination. Jock Sampson came out, attacks Mance Warner. The Duke, he tries stopping it, but somewhat predictable. He attacks Mance too. And then it was Justice pinning Mance to eliminate Mance Warner.
Duke, in the process, turning back into the most hated person on the AIW roster.
So I may have yelled some incredibly obscene shit at the Duke during
it's the
this
Duke,
whole...
It's okay.
Yeah. Like, before this, there was definitely a point where, like, Mance was pinned and he ended up kicking out. And I yelled, like, Duke, do your fucking job at him. And then, of course, Mance... yeah. See Mance just staple everything in the fucking world to Duke. It's gonna be the best.
I'll bring the weapons. It's Duke. I will bring Sim. That's something.
Wrestle Rager, that's the match I want. I don't want it to be like a fucking 10 people in the ring. I just want Mance versus Duke death match.
Bring all the light tubes. Let's go. I'll bring the poppers too.
The AIW world is back to normal. Because Good Guy Duke...
That's not allowed. That hasn't been a thing since Absolution 7.
And here's the funny thing.
Man, there wasn't even Good Guy Duke, though. It was Duke walks out, gets booed, Mance walks out, gets cheered.
Yeah.
But there was really Good Guy Duke.
Nah, it was close enough.
He just kind of got cheered because Mance was there.
Yeah, there was...
Even his trash talking to Dr. Dan. To me, that was like, yeah, that's weird. That's really weird.
Duke trash talking Dr. Dan?
Yeah.
Seemed weird to me. Duke's just a dick. He trash talks everybody, right? Like that's his that's his thing, is he's just, character's thing.
But everybody was backing him up and I'm like, this is just weird.
I don't like it.
Didn't.
Well, things are right in the world now.
Yeah, things are precisely.
He's a miserable, worthless so-and-so self with Jock Sampson. And, Pat and Ed both said this, and they are correct. If Duke is a good businessman, why would he take the side of Jock Sampson, no offense to Jock, and not Mance Warner, a dude who's, is doing things?
Because of that bull rope match they had at episode 7. So that's about it. That's all I can think of.
And the last time Duke was a, quote, good guy. And even if you go back and watch that shit, it feels weird. People...
Yeah, it's not right.
People cheering for him. That's when I first came around. And that's the Duke I was introduced to. And I go back and watch that, and it just feels weird. Just wrong.
I'll tell you, man, you're never going to hear a crowd pop more than when Mance Warner gets his hands on Duke. It's going to be fantastic.
Mance versus Jock Absolution. Mance versus Duke for the Haas boot at Rager.
Sure.
The Haas boot's just not a thing anymore. It's just there.
The Haas boot was a freaking trophy for like a while then.
It was a small little golden boot trophy.
The fucking Haas boot is about as used as much as the women's championship now.
Hey, man, it's been used more than that women's championship in the last 2 years. I remember a Wrestle Rager match where Duke won that boot. The champ hasn't been around in 2 years for sure.
Longest reigning champion in AIW history.
Fuck yeah.
He didn't win the boot at Rager. He won the boot at a on Lake Show.
Oh, yeah, it was. You're right.
But that was like the first time we had seen the boot in fucking how long?
No, we saw it at Wrestle Rager.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. At Wrestle Rager, at that point.
Yeah, we saw it there. That was the first time since 2015, I believe.
Yeah. And
hey, man, I want to see a Haas tournament.
305.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
It don't even have to be 305, man. It just there are enough dudes around right now, even just on the AIW roster, not even bringing people in, but just like guys who are regulars at AIW. There's enough that you could do a fucking...
I kind of wish the Chandler Biggins tournament was a Haas tournament.
This is a tag tournament, though.
Oh, I know it is, but I'm saying I think that would be kind of cool idea for Biggins, too.
I don't know. I just think it would be fun for that boot to be taken, not like taken seriously, but like have it be a thing.
But yeah, take it seriously, because Haas wrestling's awesome.
Fuck yeah, it is.
Give me big boys just forearming each other.
And you don't really see that on the indies. Like, nobody really rates Haas wrestling.
It's not done good.
What if
it's done good?
Has
it's
enough
fucking
guys
awesome.
to do it very good.
What if it's not Mance that beats Duke for the boot? What if it's Big Twan?
Yes.
I'm on board with that.
I'm curious to what more of Big Twan we see after we seen it at day one.
Hey, man, NX Twan.
The greatest. The look on his face when that was the chant was great.
He was very happy.
Yeah.
Big Twan's a good person. Everyone loves Big Twan. And I mean everyone.
Like Twan.
Well, back to Nick Gage and Matthew Justice.
Oh, yeah, because there's that whole part of this match still, and that was fucking brutal.
There's so much in this match, but I don't want to give away too much of it. Just go watch the match. It was just gross in the best way possible.
I think you can still buy the whole thing on Fight for $25, like the whole weekend. Worth it.
I think it's kind of cool that our early in the year predictions were the final two.
Yeah.
So it came down to like which two were going to be right and which two were going to be wrong. But it was, Matt Justice winning via a small package and new JLIT trophy holder.
Cashing it in at Abso.
If it's true what I've been told in the past, faces are going to cash in ahead of time and announce the match, and heels are going to be the one who sneak up. I even thought like Janela could have been the one to break that because he's a bad boy. He could have just cashed in because fuck it, he can cash in.
Too bad his trophy thing ran out.
He was supposed to be getting an extension, but as of right now, I'll consider him going to be the only one to have never cashed in. But
correct.
AIW could easily go, nah, it's cool, go cash in. And that wouldn't surprise me either.
He'll cash in like 3 years.
Jeez, Kayden, are you doom speaking at AEW? Oh, by 3 years from now, they'll be gone.
Nah, that company will still be around. I'm not that person. I like AEW.
I like wrestling.
I like all the wrestling. Wrestling is good. The fans are not sometimes.
No, the fans are the fucking worst part of wrestling.
Be better, people.
They've been the worst part of wrestling forever. Damn near.
They know more than the wrestlers.
Think about that statement. Think about some of the awful people who've been involved in wrestling. And the fans are still the worst part.
Brother.
But AIW has generally fucking good fans.
Sometimes.
Occasionally there's a bad egg. There's a bad egg here and there, but in general.
Yeah, as a
we
whole.
cancel those people.
As a whole, I really love our fan base, and I've said it time and time again. I think AIW, the shows are, and it's kind of like what we were talking about on the AIW podcast this week, and it's something we've talked about for a long time, is that, it's not just, we're going to go to a wrestling show. For most of us, it's we're going to go to a wrestling show and hang out with friends.
We're going to go see all of our friends, basically, and see some wrestling.
Yeah.
It was the premise of this show's even name change, because a lot of times at wrestling shows, there's a lot of people who know your name, and it's more than just, all right, here, let's take your money and like go sit and watch this show, and you're not gonna know any.
Go be a fan.
Yeah, well, not necessarily like that, but still, there has been like over time of just friendships that have grown through AIW, and I still think as a whole, like we're a decent community of fans.
Decent people. Wouldn't put it above that. We're decent.
And I don't want to say
decent's fair. Yeah, sure.
I wouldn't say we have.
We're passable.
I wouldn't say we have. We have bad eggs. I think there's just people that make bad decisions from time to time.
Like me, make a lot of bad decisions.
Well,
like liking death matches.
I've said it before.
That's not the kind of bad decisions we're talking about.
I don't know. You get my jokes in.
But yeah, I had a great JLIT weekend. Fun.
It's always fantastic. It's long, but it's fun.
And I think it was Pod Van Dam that like hit the nail on the head for me. The fact that we had the AC all weekend, kind of like we didn't have that like awful humidity within the venue and just making everybody stink and just making it uncomfortable. It felt fine.
People complained about that too, which was kind of funny to me.
I can't remember if I talked about it last week or not, but I know I heard people bitching, and a lot of us said to each other, we've been in like just a sauna of a show. So we'll take the AC over anything. Like even I think the end of night one, I bought an AIW hoodie, and that helped me night two.
Just be safe you had it.
Yeah, man, you're never going to hear me complain about air conditioning. I had long sleeves on the first night, so I didn't notice how cold it was, but people around me did. That it can be cold. I'd rather have it be cold than have the room be fucking dripping. And you can warm up. Yeah. It's hard to get, 100% humidity and fucking 90 degrees in a room. The Odeon as a venue for wrestling is great. I have no complaints at this point as far as the Odeon goes. They can keep running shows there. Good. Wrestling happens really well in it. Like the room in a wrestling venue pretty well. The merch area in the back is a little tight and stuff. Like I don't venture back there because you look claustrophobic. Yeah, no, the Odeon's great, and I'll never bitch about air conditioning in a room.
What were your guys' thoughts on the JLIT weekend as a whole? Start with Kayden.
Fun, like usual. Just very, very tiring. Because I always know what to expect from JLIT weekend. Just don't expect to get any sleep, because you will not get more than maybe 4 hours of decent sleep throughout the entire weekend.
I think that reigns true if you do everything that weekend. I didn't do any of the after parties, and that was fine. But the year that I did everything, yes, that's very true. I think actually I got like 2 hours, if I was lucky, between night one and night two.
I got a little more sleep this year because night after the after party till I just crashed out, to stay up until the sun comes up kind of stuff. And then I got to sleep in the next day because we didn't have like the tailgate or anything.
Which made me sad. I was hoping for one.
I know the girls did their brunch thing, which also kind of goes to speak to like the community thing that's there with AIW, where like that regularly go to shows went and had drinks and brunch together before the Biggins Cup. I think that's cool. I thought the weekend was fun. I think is a fucking great after party spot, proven to be. Some people will dislike the statement, in ways it's better than Funhouse. They are very, man, here's the thing though. Very accommodating and welcoming to AIW. Like they didn't have like a fruity weird drink with a bunch of stuff in it on their normal menu. Like that thing from Funhouse, so they made a version of it for him. They brought in a bottle of scotch that they don't usually have. You like scotch. They always have wrestling on one of the TVs in there when we're in there. And I like Good Company as an after party spot. I like Funhouse too. And it's a different vibe between the two. Closing the weekend out at Good Company felt, for lack of a better word, it was fun. I think it's a good fit for AIW.
How was the after party at Nax this year?
It was Nax.
I think of all the after party venues I went to, that was always my favorite. But I haven't been to Good Company yet, but I've heard nothing but good things. No pun intended.
Yeah, no, Good Company's fantastic.
And I do like that they've been accommodating. I think outside of just like, oh, here's like an AIW show, we're going to do after party. It's like other things of AIW dropping in and watching, fucking GCW shows and shit.
Right. Well, and, it helps that the guy who runs the place is a fan.
Mm-hmm.
That I think that makes a huge difference.
It's a big help.
I hope that that's the spot for Abso. As much as I love Funhouse, so after party spot.
I think as long as the Absolution venue is the Odeon, which obviously it's been announced it is, I think, or any time an AIW show is going to be at the Odeon, I think Good Company is going to be the after party spot. It was at Nax because it was closer to the JLIT hotel, so we might not be going back to the Funhouse until fucking Rager.
Right. Although Rager's at a bar to begin with. I think the funniest thing to me about Good Company, and I guess it probably wasn't there the whole time, but like, yeah, we're going there after the Odeon shows, but it is around the corner from Mount Carmel. Around the corner. You know that weird intersection with the Burger King?
Mm-hmm.
It's like that's where you turn, and then you cut back 76th Street, Carmel, to get there. It's Mount Carmel.
Part of me is always going to miss that venue, but I think for right now, Odeon's a good fit, and I wouldn't be surprised if they bounce around to a few more venues. It sort of sucks that we lost the St. John the Baptist, but...
man, that place smelled like cat piss. I'm good.
The first time it was great, which I was kind of getting to. Like, what makes me not miss it as much is that second time, because that was horrible. That was god-awful.
Yeah, I'd rather go back to the volleyball cavern than the fucking cat piss place.
Oh, that might be the best. But I think scheduling there is difficult. If we can,
I don't know. Volleyball cavern, however, was the first time I was at a show and couldn't see.
No, because
like a fan of volleyball cavern.
There was only a couple bleachers or risers.
Yeah, and the room was so big and like shit went all over the place. I actually had to go back and watch. Really, I wasn't able to see everything at the show. I wasn't a fan of the volleyball.
I wasn't there for that one, so I have no real assessment on that venue. Besides, it happened.
It was big.
It looked like it.
It's a big room, yeah.
That's one that you're going to fight for front row.
Oh, yeah, I'd just buy a front row ticket if I was there. But even then, I think if you had a front row ticket at that show, you still couldn't have seen everything that happened at that show, like even at other places, just because shit, the room's so goddamn big, and if shit spilled out of the ring, people had a tendency to kind of like into little big open areas.
I think one thing...
That's another nice thing about the Odeon. They go into the crowd. You could see everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And man, the Odeon shows too, and this might change for Abso. I haven't seen the tickets yet. But man, people need to realize those stage seats are part of GA, and that's a fucking great view.
You can really see everything.
Yeah, I don't know why those seats aren't full every time. Like, there's people standing and those seats are full.
Like, obviously, we're going to be where we are all the time.
Yeah. I like that corner seat.
Yeah, you got to catch Justice.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. That's great.
I still like that both me and Rick took the same video of Justice catching you.
Of Justice catching me?
Or no, you know what I meant. You catching Justice.
Yeah.
I thought that was fucking nuts. Like, when he tweeted that, I was like, oh my god, I have the same video. I just didn't tweet it out. Like, this is awesome. It was like just like really cool different angle. Yeah,
and I know the Pod Van Dam guys thought that, like, you catching him? No, it was just in Jersey because I didn't know it was coming. And there was no, like, railing there or anything.
Your back just died.
Yeah, because I didn't know it was coming, and then I had to like hold him up on that one. And I was already like kind of fucked up that Jersey weekend. Like I'd like catching Matt. That's fine. I think it's cool.
I say now you're all right.
Yeah, it's great.
Kayden's not a big fan of catching Justice, though.
No, he hurts. He's a large man.
Jumps on you a little different though.
He flies at me about 90 miles per hour and gives me a headbutt. Then he apologizes, so it's okay.
All right. Any final thoughts or last minute plugs before we go? Start with Kayden.
The usual. Just at KVR216 on Twitter, Instagram, whatever other social media you think is cool and interesting enough to follow me on.
Be you, Stacy.
Ah, man, everybody knows. Oh, super fantastic podcast. New episode will be out before the end of the month. I'm hoping that that both episodes, they might kind of both just drop the same day. It'll be right at the beginning of July. And then there's other stuff planned for July, but the specific episode's getting recorded this week. So that'll be there. Super on Twitter, and super fantastic.
And of course, you can find myself at Heavyset330 on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, much like you can find this show on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Facebook.com/WrestlingCheers, Twitter.com/WrestlingCheers, Instagram.com/WrestlingCheers. Email, if you so choose to desire, WrestlingCheers@gmail.com, and we have the merch store over at whatamaneuver.net. Please rate, review, and subscribe to wherever you listen to this fine podcast, whether it be Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or Podbean, WrestlingCheers.podbean.com. Check out other friends on the Trending Topics Network, such as All Beer Inside, Eurovision Showcase, Old School at the Movies, and Wrestling with Altitude. Check out our other podcast friends, such as Pod Van Dam, Super Fantastic Podcast, Road Home from Wrestling, Kick Out at 2, The IndieCast, Center Stage, Sobros Network, UXWA Today, Big Gold Belt Podcast, The Co-Host Wrestling Show, Spotlight Series, I Got Your 5 Stars, and Not Ready for Primetime Wrestling. Check out our other non-podcasting friends such as Thrift Store Jobber, The Savage Dash, Set Tab Photo, Powerslam.tv, use Wrestling Cheers, all one word, and get your first month free, Ringside Shots Photography, Sickening Pictures, Wrestle Void, Keon Sports, Stay Tough, Midwest Territory, Southern Underground Pro, and the official graphic designer of Wrestling Cheers, Moy Boy Designs. That will do it for us here on Wrestling Cheers, where everybody knows your name, especially if you eat shit. Later.
Making your way in the world today takes everything you got. Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot. Would you like to get away? Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You're the way you can see, rules are all the same. You're the way everybody knows your name.